Star Citizen Alpha 3.0 is literally around the corner. Even though according to CIG's own production schedule, which you can examine at robertspaceindustries.com/schedule-report, the release dates for the Evocati closed alpha test, the PTU open alpha test, and live have been pushed back this week, the same schedule report states that 46 out of the 80 subsections of Star Citizen development for this patch have been completed, with an additional 23 needing 7 days or fewer to reach feature complete status as of making this video. So what are these new shiny things that we can expect to see in Star Citizen Alpha 3.0? Using new technology and tools developed by the talented people at Frankfurt's branch of Foundry 42, 3.0 will feature 3 fully explorable moons, Yela, Cellon, and Daymar, made using a special blend of procedural generation, artist-driven direction, and 11 herbs and spices. Even at the scale of 1 to 10 that Star Citizen's universe is planned on being modeled in, these will still be quite literally astronomical in size. We will not be lacking for space. The technology behind the moons also supports orbits and rotations, however it has not been confirmed whether this will be featured initially. The moons will feature several modular surface outposts scattered along their surfaces, where players will be able to find loot, mission clues, and possibly some Easter eggs that CIG has hinted at. Along with surface outposts on moons, another set of items of interest will be derelict ships, based on existing ships in Star Citizen. These ships will either be pure wrecks, or will show signs of inhabitation and being used as shelter. Unfortunately, the very first version of 3.0 will not feature any surface-based AI, so we'll have to wait to actually meet NPCs in these rudimentary shelters. Wrecked ships will not only feature on surfaces of moons, but also out in deep space, so best to keep an eye on them if you want to earn a quick buck. One of the things that is not locked into the initial release of 3.0 but is a hopeful is the inclusion of the planet Delamar and the landing zone Levski to the Stanton system. Even though not officially in Stanton, Delamar is a testbed for planet-based complex surface outposts and will feature landing pads with traffic control, customs, shops, mission givers in a medical unit along with garages that allow players to spawn ground vehicles for quick and easy exploration of the planet's surface. Before 3.0, the only semblance of a proper mission-giving NPC was the disembodied voice of Tessa that greets you on approach of the ICC probe satellite orbiting Stanton. With 3.0, we will receive 2 completely fleshed out and interactable NPCs in the forms of Miles Eckhart and Ruto. These missions will not be 100% linear as they have been so far, and will feature a certain amount of randomness and modularity to keep things fresh. Along with new things to see in Star Citizen, gameplay elements are receiving a complex overhaul and addition of new items. One of these is an overhaul of player manned turrets, a feature that has so far been met with less than favorable enthusiasm from the current player base due to its buggy implementation. The rework aims to fix that. With the introduction of cargo, which we will touch upon in a few moments, players will need to be able to manually interact with cargo containers to load and unload them from ships. This will be possible to do both in Gravity and Zero-G. All the ships currently in-game will be converted to a system called Item System 2.0, which will allow for a much more granular control of various ship components, adding to the immersion levels desired from a complex game such as Star Citizen. Item System 2.0 will expand to control more than just ships, but just about every interactable object in the verse. The insurance system is receiving a do-over. Just how it will differ from the current system is still yet to be seen. Running, sprinting, jumping, and even firing your weapon will now drain from a collective stamina pool, which will require a proper oxygenated environment to replenish. Drain the stamina pool completely and you will suffer the consequences. Doors and airlocks are being reworked to be more intelligent and detect whether the adjacent rooms contain an atmosphere or hard vacuum. This is in preparation to work in conjunction with the upcoming room system, which will let every enclosed space have a custom atmosphere, including gas composition and pressure. Expect that feature in 3.1. With the advent of outposts, players will be able to purchase cargo using a kiosk and transport this cargo to its destination. There will also be an inventory system in place to let you keep track of everything in your cargo hold. Moons and planets will include atmospheres. including a violent transition from the vacuum of space. Passengers are advised to keep their arms and heads inside their vehicles at all times. Gone are the days of simply requesting your ship from storage and receiving a shiny new example straight from the dealer floor. Your ship gets damaged, your ship stays damaged. The smart money is to buy Cryastro stock before 3.0 comes out. Ships large enough will not only be able to transport commodities in cargo containers, but small enough vehicles such as bikes and rovers. Although this was somewhat possible to do before, it will now receive a proper in-game system. New players will be happy to see a hint system in place to help out with the steep learning curve of Star Citizen. With a plethora of new features coming alongside, seasoned players might get some use out of it as well. And finally, one of the biggest perceived changes to the game will be the UI, most notably the Mobiglass Personal Companion, which will allow for an interface for character customization, inventory, a new mission manager app, cargo manifest app, vehicle customizer app, ship selector and insurance claim app, mission board app, star map, and more, along with an overhaul to the ship multifunction displays to give players much more control over the components on their ships, and a comms system, which will in its first iteration allow players to hail an outpost or space station and request landing permissions. Oh, and we're finally getting a field of view slider. This and many more out-of-sight features, such as improvement to the graphics engine, netcode, and other backend services are coming in Star Citizen Alpha 3.0. If you wish to know more, the production schedule report posted on the Robert Space Industries website is a lengthy and comprehensive resource with much more in-depth information and is well worth the read. In the meantime, this has been a rundown of most, if not all, of the features coming in Star Citizen Alpha 3.0, and until next time, we will see you in the verse.